People.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
So who do we have here? I've known Joanna for more than 8 years.
Yes.
She's also a
Hi.
special needs mom. She's also a hormone health specialist. She's also a certified health coach, and she's also somebody who's aging backwards. So that's why
Ah,
we have her here. The first time
thank you.
I was like, I when we just
Oh,
connected again, and I'm like, you look exactly the same. But then I realized, no, you're actually aging backwards. So you,
thank you. Thank you. That's very kind of you. Very sweet.
I think
You
it's a huge
have
it's a double
yourself.
compliment when you're a special needs mom too, because the stress that we have,
Yeah.
it's not. I mean, everybody has seen these. The comparison of a special needs mom stress to combat
Yeah.
soldiers,
Yeah.
right?
The PTSD is almost the same as a person who comes back from battle. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought this is an autism awareness month. And while everybody is talking about autism awareness, and this is such an important topic, I do think that as a special needs mom, I do think that the caregivers are play such a big role and a huge part. And this is something that happens to you, and then you have to deal with it. You have to cope with it, and it's very taxing on yourself as a person, like as an individual, and especially as a mom, because you're so much emotionally involved, and everything's happening, whatever is happening to your child, you are actually a part of it in so many ways, like, scientifically, spiritually, so in in all forms and ways. So I really wanted to do this session with you, and so we could, like, try and figure out what can we do for ourselves. The purpose of this is I really want to simplify things for moms out there, because we all hear that it's you can't pour from an empty cup. And
Absolutely.
then you're like, okay, but then life is so busy and life is so stressful, and I just don't know how to take care of myself, whether I want to. And that's another added guilt that you have on top of everything else that you're doing. Okay, you're maybe child not reaching their milestones and whatever, everything that's ongoing with that journey, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
But then you have, on top of that, you have this guilt as well, that like, oh, everybody says that and I agree, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know where to start. And that's what I want to do. I want to simplify it for moms out there. I want to start from just like jot down something that's very simple, maybe three things, five things, I don't know. So please
It's
help us.
yeah. So exactly like you said, it's you cannot pour from an empty cup, and most mothers always put their family's needs first. They put their child's needs first, and that often means just living in a survival mode, trying to survive the day to day. And the last thing they think is about doing something for themselves.
Yeah.
Now, it's because of time. There's not enough time in the day. It's because they're overwhelmed with the anxiety and the stress and the fears that come up. So they literally, the thing that I hear most often is like, I don't have time. I don't have time for me. How do I make time for me? How do I navigate this time when, there isn't enough time for myself? And it's a mindset shift that needs to happen. They need to understand. We need to understand that prioritizing yourself, uh, it's actually for the better, for the improvement of the whole family. Prioritizing, when you prioritize yourself, you show up as a better parent, as a better mother.
I
When you
completely
give
agree.
to yourself, then you show up as focused, as grounded, you have more patience, you're happier, and your children will respond to that, right?
That's so true. That is what we need to do.
The
I think.
first thing we need to just work on is this shifting that mindset that self-care is selfish. It's not.
Hmm.
Self-care is not selfish. When you put yourself first, when you make time, put some time aside for your needs, makes you a better parent, a better mother, and you're showing up in a different way. So there's many strategies you can have, and there's many tools. I can start with morning routines if you would like. I can start with uh, nighttime routines, morning time routines, nourishment, movement, all these things. And a lot of them can be done within, with your kids, with the family, or while you're doing other things. So I always say, for instance, the morning time is it's if you take a little bit, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, as much as you can, wake up earlier, but it will set the tone for the rest of the day. So what can it look like for you, for instance, or for me? Breath work is very important. A warm cup of tea is very important to me. Going outside in my garden and being in the sunlight, extremely important. Taking those deep breaths, 5 minutes of breath work is it's incredible. It just shifts your mind.
Uh-huh.
It's
I
it's
want to
amazing.
exactly. This is such an important. It's like I like to say it's like a tool that you have. It's like in your toolbox of things. Like you
Yeah,
can. That's your
yeah,
go-to. You can go
yeah,
and take
yeah.
it and use it whenever you need it. And this has worked wonders. I know there are a couple of. Is there a specific technique that you use yourself or you suggest?
There's in terms of breath work, so I have to ask so for instance with my clients, I ask, what would you like to bring in your morning? What is very important for you? For me, it's I really need the sunlight. I really need to sit outside. Number one, I need to hydrate myself, so a warm cup of water with lemon or a cup of tea, it takes literally no time. Grounding, if you have a garden, go and sit outside and ground yourself. Then you can use, there's so many apps. You can use any app. They have breath work from 3 minutes to 20 minutes, as much as you want. You have 2 minutes, you have 5 minutes. Eventually you learn to do it yourself, and you will find yourself in other times. I cannot say enough things about breath work. Um, you will find yourself, once you learn a couple of techniques, you don't need to know all of them. Any time that you think you're going to lose it, or let's say you're stuck in traffic or you're waiting and your appointment is delayed, you bring it in, and those 2 minutes literally rewire your brain, and they bring you out of this fight or flight and back into a more calm state where you can respond better into your life, instead of
Oh
like
yeah.
being reactive, and everything stresses you and you cannot control. So breath work is the number one. Then if you do have time to bring in some gentle movements, that can be something as well. You can do, or if you have time to go for a walk, please do. But I know mornings are very tight, so I would say the most important things is if you hydrate yourself, if you can focus on your breath work, and then if you can expose yourself to some natural light, because that's very important for the hormones. It just brings a natural response of the cortisol, and then it would help you. Your morning habit, this morning habit will help you sleep at night. So
Actually,
these are the top three.
I wanted to connect exactly. You mentioned hormones, so that's where I was like, how hormones are actually how hormones tie into stress and energy. So,
Oh my
because
God. So it's literally, so we have the stress hormones. One of them is cortisol, right?
Hmm, hmm,
And it's like ruling most of the rest of the hormones. So when things are out of balance
hmm.
in that sense, then every single organ system gets affected, from your digestion, from your nervous system, literally everything. So it's super important to prioritize the stress management. I always, with my clients, no matter where they come from, this is my number one step. We work with stress, reframing stress, seeing stress like, okay, how do we respond to that? And how do we learn how to um, attack the things that we can control, but the things we don't control, we have to let go. So stress management is the right there at the top of the priority list. And
So we discussed what we should be doing in the morning, which so
yeah,
let's our takeaway is the
yeah,
breath work and
yeah.
hydration. Let's
Hydration,
yeah,
breath work, and some natural light.
and some
Those
natural light.
basic
Yes,
things.
yes. So
Now,
that's
by all
perfect.
means, you can add more. You can add more. As far as breath work, people say are new to this, and they're like, "What is this?" There's so many apps. One of them is free. It's Insight Timer.
Okay.
Um, they have so many. But if you go to the App Store, you will find numerous, and there's many great books written about breath work. So yeah, it's from the simple one, the box breathing, the 5 seconds breathing in,
Yes,
stop
and five
for
finger
5 seconds.
breathing. I
Exactly, exactly. This is like the most basic, the most simple, but yet so, so effective. I cannot stress how effective it is.
I don't want to put any
Incredible.
shade on neurofeedback, but I joke. We
Yeah,
did 80 sessions of neurofeedback with Ahil, and I was like, I can summarize the 80 sessions of neurofeedback into like just you mentioned, like box breathing or the five finger breathing. I think that was the most
yeah,
useful and that the most um, rewarding in the whole session. I mean,
yeah,
there's
yeah,
science behind it, but it's just like as a in our experience, this was the most useful thing that we learned by
yeah.
spending so much money. But that's okay. I should have listened. I should have just used the free app.
I know. It, we don't learn how to regulate our nervous system, and really, there's so many simple ways to do so. And we just get stuck in this constant fight or flight or freeze mode, and we cannot go back into the calming. um, it's just sad, but it's very easy to fix, and it's a habit, and then you learn to do it, and once you do it, every time you find yourself a bit off, you can go back into your breath, and then that brings you back.
Oh, this
So
is
yeah,
excellent advice. So so we have taken care. So that's
okay.
like, I mean, that won't take a long time.
Yeah.
That could be a 10-minute, routine.
No, literally, I start my clients with 3 minutes, no longer than that, because you want to start easy and then you build up on that. Now, if you have another 5 minutes and you want to journal or do a gratitude list, that is incredible as well. That should, you cannot be stressed when you're grateful. So,
Yeah, that's true.
another thing they can add, but it all depends on how much time you have, and you can start with the 5 minutes, you can start with the 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, and I do say it does make a difference, and even sacrificing these 10 minutes from your sleep is so rewarding. The last thing you want is to just get up in the morning and there's kids running and then you have to make breakfast and you have to get everybody. That is not a way to start the day. You're already like entering into that stress mode and that chaos and panic and just getting on with the survival.
So I did that. So for example,
Yeah,
um I'm going to start tomorrow.
awesome.
I'm going. This
And
is
then I'll hold you accountable. You have to set saying 3 minutes done or
yes.
5 minutes done
So what can I do once the kids are asleep and I'm so tired and I really don't
in
want
the
to do
evening.
anything? So we did the morning thing. Let's try
Yeah,
to find what can we do like 15-20 minutes before I like zone out and I have no
yeah.
time and I don't have any strength because I had a full day and it was everything. What can I do for myself to improve my sleep before bed? What could be the best thing?
Okay. A warm cup of tea is one of them. If you want to take a journal and write down a few things, offload, or again, make a gratitude list of all the things that went well into that day or the wins or whatever else. That if you want to go back into your breath, there's nothing better to put you into sleep.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of apps that have this short, it's called Yoga Nidra
Hmm.
session, which is yoga, but you literally don't do anything. You lie and you focus on relaxing specific parts of the body. That works well. It can be different for some people like to read. Like if you have a nice book and you wanna just take your time and read, lower the lights. I'm always advising on lowering the lights in the evening. Once the sun is down, please no blue lights, overhead lights and things like that. So Um, yeah, so all of it looks different. Uh, for me, it might look different. It would look different for you, depending on what you want to bring in and how do you want it to look like. What makes you unwind and calm down? So it could be a magnesium bath, for
Hmm.
instance. That works well as well.
Yeah.
A nice hot bath with magnesium flakes in there. Incredible. A tea, one of these, like um, holy basil, or you can have hops or valeriana, passion flower. There's all these tea blends that are really good at lowering your cortisol and putting you into sleep or inducing sleep in a natural way.
Yeah, I chamomile tea is also.
Chamomile tea is amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's so pretty.
Well,
The box would
yeah,
be so pretty. That would look like
yeah,
self-care,
yeah,
everything. And
yeah,
that's very important to emphasize is that sometimes because we see it on social media and we see it on
yeah,
different sort of media that every time we talk about self-care it looks like a spa in between the
no,
mountains and everything, and then we're like, okay, even when we talk about nature I often say that like it's not like nature is everywhere, so you don't really have to go. I mean that helps obviously if it's
yeah,
scenic and there's a lake and the
yeah,
mountains and everything, that's an added bonus, but it's not like it self-care does not look like the way you see on social media in pictures.
absolutely.
Picture perfect, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And never ever strive for anything that is perfection. We just want the little gains. We don't strive for perfection. That is unattainable. And we don't compare. Your reality is your reality. Somebody else's reality is different. It's about what makes you feel good, right?
There's so much wisdom in you. It's like I know these things, but when you're saying it, I believe them.
It's just practice through the years.
I'm like, okay, no,
Definitely
this
not
is true.
wiser in the way. Well, I might be wiser. I'm a lot older than you.
Well, you don't
So
look
there you go.
like.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
with the morning routine and the night routine, I want to
Yeah.
come in between. So now, while
Okay.
I wanted to relax in at night,
Yeah.
and now I want energy. What can I
Okay.
do in terms of nutrition to improve my energy throughout the
Yeah.
day? And trust me, I've gone through these phases where it's not like, oh, you're just too lazy to get up and go to the gym. And once you're there, you'll be like, no, for me, it was like, okay, I did get up and go to the gym. Over there, every
Yeah.
moment was so hard. I wanted to run away. I wanted to go back.
Yeah.
So it didn't like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember,
Yeah.
it's like everybody's experiences are so different, yet, um, uh, you keep on thinking, you keep on questioning yourself that, if something worked for somebody, why is it not working for me? It's my fault. And then it's like you write
Yeah.
it off completely and you're like, okay, this I'm useless and this is not working and I didn't try hard enough. And that becomes an added burden on yourself. So
Yeah.
something simpler that could improve my energy, something that I can eat when like in terms of nutrition, that could actually make things easier for me, because obviously you have to do these things. There are no options. You can't really
Yeah.
lag behind because you have people depending on you more than the
Yeah.
others. So
Yeah.
what can we do?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I understand what you're saying. But everything is in most coaching programs is based on bio individuality, right?
Yes.
Which means what is right for one person might not be right for the next person. It comes to nutrition as well, though there are some general rules, obviously. Processed foods is not good for anybody.
Yeah.
For Uh, but it's very bio individual. So a workout regime that works for me might be totally wrong for you.
Hmm.
So let's go back. So nutrition wise, I
Hmm.
think in a very stressful day, the best thing you can do is support yourself
Hmm.
nutritionally. Like if you don't have the raw materials, your engine's not gonna run.
Yeah.
So easy thing, what you can do. You don't have time, let's say, to start, and the breakfast is really important to set the tone for your insulin response later in the day. So you
Okay.
don't have those crashes. So you don't have the cravings that most women like, oh my God, I have to eat something sweet. I cannot. So it's very important to balance the insulin, and insulin always gets affected by cortisol. So the best thing you can do is you start with your morning routine. Then, if you do not have time, a smoothie is like very, very easy thing to do.
Okay.
It's very easy to make it nutritious and nourishing and fuel you with energy for the rest of the day
Mm.
if it's done right. Now, in our minds, we think, okay, smoothie, just fruits and bananas. Well, that is
Mm.
the wrong smoothie,
Mm.
right? So you need to have a protein source, very important
Mm.
in smoothie. That's a non-negotiable, something that will give you 30, 35 grams or even 40 grams of protein. I use a protein and then I use extra collagen on top of that, which adds another 10 to 15 grams.
Okay.
Um, then instead of like high glycemic fruits such as bananas and mangoes and all of that, we opt for the berries.
Mm.
Uh, instead of um, then we add also superfoods. Obviously, you want to have a bit of spinach there or a little bit of your green powder. If it's a powder, even easier, a green
Mm.
powder.
Mm.
Or I use always some avocado,
Oh,
makes
yeah.
it super nice and creamy, and it adds that fat that will sustain your energy later on. So
Mm.
smoothies are very easy
Mm.
way to nourish yourself, especially in the morning when you're running and
Mm.
you don't have much time. If you do have time, then please, you can cook a nice meal or a nice, eggs and everything else. But most people don't, especially moms. And again, if you're cooking for your kids and you don't do anything for
For
yourself, that
yourself.
is something that is
Okay.
wrong. Like
Okay.
so many times, and I did it myself. I
Mm.
was I was the leftovers, whatever, everybody, and I would snack and I would
Yeah.
just run out the door, and it, it's not good for anybody. So if you don't have time, you really need to make time to nourish yourself, to provide a small meal that is nourishing. It can be a bowl, it can be eggs, it can be, a smoothie is the quickest. I have my clients often prepare in Ziploc bags. You can put a few berries,
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
your, your lettuce or your spinach or your greens, and then all you need to do is literally add your coconut water or your milk of choice and your powders, and you're done. It's literally so, so easy.
And you put it in the freezer?
In
And
the freezer, yes,
okay.
in bags. And I'm very big advocate also of meal prepping.
Okay.
So there's a lot of people who don't have, and if you don't make the time to meal prep, there will be
Mm.
times when you will have to go around and order
Yeah.
something, or and then the choices are not that great. That's
Yes.
the thing.
Yes.
Meal prepping is very, very smart and very easy. It doesn't really take time. You can set a time, one afternoon, and you'll say, I'm going to batch cook this and this. I'm going to have my chicken or my turkey and eggs or whatever it is. And you put it in the same way you do with the smoothie. So you take the Ziploc bags, you put individually the whatever you need in there, and off you go. It's
This is
super.
such an important point because I feel that usually, and I have often observed myself that it's not like okay, I'm ordering out or I'm eating junk because it's a choice that I'm making. Very few times it's the craving that you're like, oh, I really want to
Yeah,
eat this fried chicken.
yeah,
But usually or mostly it's because of lack of time. You're like, okay, I
yeah,
don't have time. I do want to eat something healthy. I know that this is what I should be eating. But look, I don't have time right now. I need to fix whatever is
yeah,
available, or I need to
yeah,
eat whatever is available. And that's
yeah,
where you make mistakes. Not like, once in
yeah,
a while a cheat meal doesn't really
yeah,
harm. But usually when
yeah,
you're
no,
short on time so many times, then overall your intake is like just not good food, right?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So just set some time aside and say, okay, what would I like to consume this week?
Yeah.
And what is good to have? Like, for me was always, there will always be some specific meatballs, and there will always be some chicken breast. Like, it's so easy. And then you add your veggies, or I also do some sweet potatoes, whole sweet potatoes
Mhm.
in or cut in half, also in the fridge.
Mhm.
It's just so easy. Or roasted vegetables. You can do all sorts of things. And I'm sure I don't know if there's an app, but I'm sure there's like thousands of YouTube videos on how to meal prep, depending on your preferences again.
Yes.
Um, and what do you like to eat and all of that. So definitely nourishing yourself and making time to eat. Another thing is I would like to say at least one meal a day should be spent with the family and have that connection and sit down and maybe do a gratitude list like you ask your kids, or like to bring in that energy of gratitude, right? And
That's
then
so
take
true.
and then sit down and have a meal and connect and talk about your day, or what are you going to do tomorrow, or whatever. Family meals are so so important.
Actually, this actually reminded me. I feel that as moms, our responsibility is to nurture, not only give our kids, which I think most of the moms are like doing. They're providing them with the best foods that they can give, like nutrition wise and everything. But it's just a such a holistic way to raise kids that you're
Yeah,
responsible not for your physical being, you're also responsible for their whole well-being. So it's like every part of it is so important, right? Not only like
yeah,
a very angry mom forcing you to eat a very healthy food might not actually be beneficial in the long term for the kid, because then they would disliking the whole process and everything, and
of
that
course.
regardless of how nutritionally that amazing that food is, overall the experience would be damaging for the child, because his whole experience was not fun, and it was just like,
Exactly,
something that
exactly.
he never wants to go back to, and he relates to.
Yeah,
So there's so many, we have to be so mindful about
yeah,
doing everything in a holistic way, because that's our responsibility as mom. We
yeah,
have to not only take care of their physical being, we have to take care of mental health and then
of
well-being
course.
in
They're
general.
emotional. Yeah,
Exactly, emotional. Thing it was you. I actually learned something. Like I said, that it's just such good reminders, and so helpful. I just before I close, wrap it up, I do want to, because I want you to give me like one supplement that all of us
oh,
should be taking, like as a mom. Let's as
okay.
women, as mom,
Yeah, yeah,
what can I
yeah,
do that at least if I'm not able to do anything else, not do it,
yeah,
I'm taking
yeah,
that supplement and I'm sleeping easy,
yeah,
that at least one bit
yeah,
of it is
yeah,
something that I'm doing, because it's just
yeah,
popping a pill, it's easier, it doesn't take
yeah,
any time. So
yeah.
what's the top one supplement that nobody should be
The
skipping?
Um, well, you very well know that our food is not what it used to
No.
be 20, 30, 50 years ago, and we're lacking minerals. And
Mm,
one of the minerals that is literally the top, 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 and most important for more than, I think they say 500 or even more
yeah.
metabolic function
Hmm.
is magnesium.
Hmm.
Everybody's deficient in magnesium. A mom of a child with special needs, especially deficient in magnesium, is the one that gets depleted every time we get a stress response.
Hmm.
So magnesium, I would say, is the number one. Um, it's calming. I would say that be aware of what form of magnesium you take. The
Yes,
most
yes.
easily absorbed is the magnesium glycinate.
Hmm. Hmm.
However, there's other forms, or you can find in combination magnesium glycinate together with malate and together with L-threonate, the one that
Hmm.
crosses the blood-brain
Hmm.
barrier, and it
Hmm.
has super calming effect
Hmm.
as well. So a magnesium supplement never harmed anybody. As long
Yeah.
as you don't go hard on magnesium citrate, that can be upsetting for the stomach and the digestive tract. So, but magnesium in general is much needed and very, very well tolerated. Or you can, if you say, I don't like to take pills, a magnesium chloride bath.
Hmm.
You put those flakes in the bath, also helps absorb. Or there's lotions, there's oils, there's so many things with magnesium, but I would say definitely the number one is that. And yeah, if I can add more, I would add more. I would say the number two would be omega threes,
Free,
as you
yeah.
probably well know. We need them as well, and they help
Hmm.
with hormone balance as well.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then if you live in an environment that, like you're in Canada, right?
Yes,
You need your vitamin D, or
D.
you'll need to have your vitamin D levels checked and supplement when required. I would say be
Everybody that
prepared.
I talk to here, and any time we check our vitamin D levels, anybody who actually have the in average amount of level are the one that's a surprise for us. Otherwise, we all assume that everybody is deficient. Like, we're like, okay,
Yeah,
your levels were fine. Were you taking something? Because otherwise, everybody is deficient. So
I
it's
will
just
tell you one thing. So I was living for 5 years in the Bahamas, right? Do you know that twice I was deficient? And I was walking on the beach every single day, every morning
oh,
and every
oh.
evening, and I would go swimming. We're literally living on the water. Twice in my life, during the time I was living there, my vitamin D levels were low. So it can happen to anybody. So let alone if you're not in the sunshine.
Yes,
Yeah, I
exactly.
would say these three too, but and very, very important for all your audience is when things get overwhelming and you see the physical signs and you see the emotional signs, right? We all can recognize those. It's not bad to ask for help. It doesn't make you less than. And it's okay to set some boundaries and it's okay to say no. Those are the
Mm.
things that really matter. And there's so much guilt and so much pressure that, that is very, very harmful. Yeah,
I was the other day I was just talking to somebody, and I always say to everybody, I said, um, you can do anything, but you don't have to do everything.
exactly.
See, the
Exactly.
idea of this super mom and super woman is just so wrong. It's not. It's like
Harmful. Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
It's harmful. It can be very harmful. And then we are already very hard on ourselves, right? We think, oh no, am I doing enough? Am I showing up? Should I do something else? Is there something more I can do? All of this chatter. So it's we don't give ourselves grace. So it's very important. We
Oh,
take a
this
moment.
was so lovely, Johanna. It was.
And
Thank you so much. It was.
I could be here talking to you for a long, long time, but
And I can actually listen to you for a long, long time.
okay,
Your
okay.
voice is so soothing and it's so much fun. I
Thank
feel
you.
I'm
Thank you.
so loud. I should be, but it's so
No,
lovely to
that's
actually,
okay. Okay.
it's so lovely to
Has their
actually.
own style.
No, thank you so much. And
Thank you.
hopefully we'll be able to do this again.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Lovely talking to you.
Thank you.